in with one of our teams, Relatively Paranormal, which is based here in New Bedford. They are out at the Palmer River Churchyard out there in the Rehoboth area. So let's check in with Todd, Sylvia, and we'll find out what's going on out there. Hello, Todd. Are you with us?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Tim? How are you?
Good. How you doing? How's things going out there tonight?
Actually, we had a great investigation, except for the fact that I tripped over a tombstone and ripped my leg open. Probably have to go to the hospital, but we kept going, and we actually got quite a bit of activity there.
So, I was just saying, you were out there with Marissa and Manny, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we had never been there before. The place is tiny, but it's creepy. It definitely has a certain creep factor to it.
It's very dark out there tonight.
And well, that whole area has, there's multiple haunts in the Rehoboth area that for a long, long time, people have kind of almost forgotten about them as being part of the Bridgewater Triangle. Andrew Lake wrote about them in his book, and he's done a lot of work out there, but it's not a place that people think of when they think of the Triangle, but yet it's one of the most haunted parts of the Triangle.
Really, really good responses. Flashlight communication was excellent. The Vortex Spirit Box, the voices were very clear. And we caught some figures moving on the flare and both SLSs.
You're getting multiple devices that are giving you signs of activity. So talk about a little bit about the importance of that, about being able to catalog this on multiple formats as opposed to just having one thing that might just be, an anomalous moment on one device or meter.
What we always strive for, and why we do load up on a lot of equipment, because we like the corroborating evidence. We like multiple devices going off at one time.
That is the crew from Relatively Paranormal. Yeah, we don't want anybody to get injured. That's
right. Flashlights.
Yeah.
Important.
Well, but I mean, they know how to investigate. Relatively Paranormal, we haven't had the chance to investigate with Todd and Marissa yet, but, I've seen their videos. I've watched their show. I know that they know what they're doing, so I have full trust in them.
10 years ago, we lived through some of the most intense paranormal activity imaginable. That led us to research haunted locations, to capture evidence proving the existence of supernatural beings.
Okay, both classes in front. You're gonna leave tonight.
And help our families being tormented as we once were.
Kids along too.
And what we discovered is that the South Coast is wickedly haunted.
That was incredible. That's what I'm talking about. That's proof. Hi, welcome to Wickedly Haunted. I'm Todd.
And I'm Marissa.
And if you haven't figured it out yet, tonight's episode is about our investigation of the Palmer River Churchyard Cemetery in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. Now, the investigation was actually part of the Spooky Triangle special that's done every year by WBSM's Spooky South Coast radio show, hosted by our friend Tim Weisberg. And we were honored to be a part of the show, for sure.
Yeah.
And that night was absolutely crazy. For several reasons, but the main reason was that there was a huge storm barreling down on us, and we didn't really have a huge idea of when that storm was going to hit.
Right.
We weren't sure at all, and it was actually one of those things where the only positive that could possibly come out of that would be
the fact that we would get some good evidence, I guess.
Well, there's a theory that energy from storms, lightning, thunder and lightning, thunderstorms, and any type of storm like that, there was a high amount of wind. All of that is natural energy provided by the earth. Okay. Now, of course, we rip our power plant energy pump devices always. That night, we actually had them in a circle around us in the graveyard, and it produced some amazing results there.
Yeah.
Now, as always, with all of these locations, in the words of Forrest Gump, they are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And in this location, I don't think a lot of people go ghost hunting there.
No.
Now, it is a notoriously haunted place. If you watch any special about the Bridgewater Triangle, it is sure to include the cemetery. That's how I knew about it. But the cemetery is 300 years old. I don't know what the last burial there was, probably sometime in the 1800s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are old spirits that probably did not see a lot of technology, if any at all. They probably thought much of what we were doing was magic. Okay. And we use the latest next generation state of the art equipment we can find. We mix old proven techniques also that we have developed to interact with the spirits, and along with that, state of the art technology. Some spirits can use the state of the art technology depending on when they pass. Some spirits are afraid of it. They think it's magic or black magic. And some spirits are able to use some things and not other things. Okay. This investigation, we captured a lot of visual anomalies, a lot of good audible stuff, especially from the Vortex Spirit Box, and not a ton of interaction with like REM pods and stuff like that.
Right.
But the results were still amazing and shocking at some points. And it was really, really an exciting time. I mean, the other thing you need to think about is, I believe the idea behind, and I may be speaking out of school here, Tim, if you're watching, I believe the idea of the Spooky Triangle show is to send a bunch of paranormal teams, because what it is they send a bunch of investigators out into the Bridgewater Triangle to investigate at the same time to see what that will do to the triangle. Okay. The name Relatively Paranormal, which is what Marissa and I go by. Okay. If you didn't know, it means obviously that we're a family, you know, we're a couple, we're relatives.
Just a little play on words, I guess.
But it also means that in the paranormal, everything is relative or related.
Right.
Relative means related in one way or another. Okay. So it's all relative. So our anxiety over the storm and rushing around to get set up probably also added to that mix.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to get into some awesome evidence clips. We have 4 incredible videos to show tonight. Before we do, as always, we would just like to mention that if you or anyone you know is experiencing a haunting or strange activity in the home, and you would like Marissa and I to come out to perform a paranormal investigation, free of charge, of course, we are more than happy to. All you need to do is go to our website, www.relativelyparanormal.com. About the second page down, there is a booking form. It just entails name, contact info. If you want to leave us a quick blurb as far as what's going on, great. And we will get back to you as soon as possible. You can also go to our website and send us an email through relativelyparanormal@gmail.com. Now, our website also leads you to a lot of other links, like to our incredible YouTube channel, which I now believe has 100 videos on it.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
And I'm not talking about just 100 short clips. We have full investigation videos, stuff you don't get to see on Wickedly Haunted. We have every episode of Wickedly Haunted on there. I have a string of quick evidence clips that I've done recently and put on there, as well as reviews of ghost hunting equipment, if that's something you're into. And Marissa and I have been featured on several things. Like we did a full 2-3 hour interview on Spooky South Coast. We were featured on a show called My Extraordinary Family about the ghost hunting family, the weirdos, right?
Yep.
Okay. All that is on there. And we also have a public Facebook group, again, called Relatively Paranormal, that anyone is welcome to join. Please join them all. Subscribe to them. We have a TikTok channel now, too. We are all over the place. So we're going to get into our first video here tonight. Please comment, ask questions. We want to interact with you. It makes the show much funnier, whatever.
Gotcha.
No matter what it is about paranormal investigating, let us know where you're watching from. Anything like that is welcome. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching the show. And right now we're going to get into our first evidence clip. If you just click brand.
Do you want to mention Ron real quick?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay. Brand.
Sorry.
Well, I'll do it. I'll
Okay.
do it. Brand. Yeah,
Sure.
that's the first video. All right. Sorry about the small delay. Does that say number 1?
Nope, we got to go up top.
That does say number 1. Right
Oh,
there.
yes, it is. Sorry.
Okay. And here we go. The following events occurred during our setup for our investigation of Palmer River Churchyard Cemetery, an almost 300-year-old graveyard in the middle of nowhere in the town of Rehoboth, Massachusetts. In this replay, notice something will zip between Manny and I first, then something shoots towards the screen, followed by a spirit energy orb that shoots over the both of us.
I don't know if that has any storage. See it on the tree outside board?
Yeah, can you see it on this camera back here, maybe?
What's wild?
Light.
Light.
Oh my god, it says
Oh,
light.
length it says.
Oh,
You can't see it on this one either. Can you see it on the full spectrum?
Well, it brings it to for our eyes. It doesn't mean necessarily to the camera.
Plus with all the lights on too ain't helping.
So my name's Marissa.
You back away from that? You back away from that. Thank you. Can you come forward again and touch it?
Yes?
Can you touch it again?
Yes.
Oh, what's the static detector going off again? What the hell?
Started in the week of stepping on your...
So this thing with the pretty lights on it, this green box, this black box, or this box, you can make yourself known by touching them. You just come up and touch it like that. You just come up and touch it. You can make yourself known by touching this box with the red light. This antenna will not hurt you. Devil, it said. That's not good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Right there, I got it right on the REM pod and everything is perfect. Right, it's good. We'll take that shot. Working?
Yes.
Yeah. Grab the bus and start working while I get these other things going. Yeah, it's over here. The blue flashlight's over here. And here.
This anomaly appears in the back of the cemetery, which is surrounded by woods, so cannot be a light source of any kind. Marissa is captured on a 3D mapping camera, and if you notice right away, it does not look like her face. The other arrow is also pointing to a bizarre anomaly in the back of the graveyard that also looks like a face. As Marissa turns here, you will notice that the face that is covering hers looks like it's pushed out, almost like a Halloween mask. Whatever the shapes are that are manifesting on her face, they are clearly not Marissa's face. That is painfully obvious. As far as the thing in the back of the graveyard, I don't know what it's doing, but it actually looks like it's eating something. Now let's focus for a second on that head in the back of the graveyard. As the picture is enlarged, you can clearly see another face inside of its mouth as it closes down and eats it. Now we're going to quickly see a strange orb shoot across the screen back to that head in the back of the graveyard. Repeatedly, it looks like different faces or heads appear on or near its mouth area, and it looks like it sucks in those faces or heads and eats them. We have heard several times over the last few months about demonic entities eating human spirits and killing them. This is clear evidence that this is going on.
Light, I need a light, flashlight. Hold it right there.
Okay, so we have a base reading temperature of 69.6 degrees. 69.4 over here, 69.2. Okay, 69.4. Okay, so between 69.2 and 69.6. And spirits, right now I have what in my hand is a camera. It's a flare. And this can actually detect temperature, so I'll be able to see your body if you're able to manifest. Are you in front of me? Oh my God. You walk towards me. There you go. Come closer, all the way up to me. There you go, keep coming.
Not solid.
That's great. Can you wave your hand up in the air?
I don't have this on.
Can you... That's awesome. Can you wave your hand up in the air? A couple times. Do it for me just a couple times. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
All right, so we're back, and obviously we actually have a new way of setting up. We set up the cameras first instead of the equipment, because what happens is we get sidetracked when we're setting up if we have the equipment up first, because things will go off and things will start activating, and the ghosts will start interacting with us right away, because they're able to juice themselves up off the power plant energy devices. If you haven't heard us talk about this before, spirits have no bodies, obviously. They have no way to hold energy in any way, shape, or form. If you've ever watched a ghost hunting show before, if you notice on a lot of them, their cameras will be drained, their voice recorders, their flashlights. And then something paranormal will happen, and usually the activity ends as fast as it starts. They will even drain your body. Believe us, we know. So I came up with this invention called the power plant, which is a constant power supply for spirits to use while we investigate, and it works like crazy. It works like crazy. And that's the reason why the activity starts very quickly for us, and it never stops until we leave and shut those things off. It's absolutely insane. Now that graveyard is super creepy, right?
Yes, very, very old. It's those old stones, you know, like the really sharp, tiny ones. They're like so far into the ground. They've just like sunk into the ground. But you know, those really thin ones, some of them didn't even have names on them.
They're all busted up and chipped and very sharp. And if you did see the beginning, I gashed my leg open during setup
Yes.
and ended up with stitches at like 2 a.m. at St. Luke's Hospital. They did a great job too. Thank you, St. Luke's Hospital. They did. We were out there very quickly. They gashed my leg wide open. I kept investigating. It's just the way I am. If we're going to drive way out someplace and set up all that equipment, unless I'm like half dead on the ground, I'm going to keep investigating. Bristol will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was blood all pouring down in my socket. It was all over the
It was
place.
just kind of like a cluster.
It was a
you know.
disaster.
Yeah. To say the least. And so it wasn't just the two of us, just so you know, if you heard like an additional voice. Manny, our friend Manny, was there with us helping out. So it's just the three of us. It's a small cemetery. So there wasn't really a whole lot of us, there wasn't really a whole lot of space to move around. So that's why you're looking at really just kind of one general area throughout
It's
the videos.
basically like right off the road, but you wouldn't know it was there if you drove past it. It's in like the woods.
It's very hidden.
Like you got to walk like 2 football fields past like a fence down into this little area that's all surrounded by trees. So there was not a lot of light contamination or noise contamination, and it's in the sticks.
Yeah.
We drove past it like 3 times before we even knew it was there.
You couldn't see any lights from like any houses or anything. So whatever we were able to gather, they were just, like we have some photos that we'll end up posting up on our page, and you'll be able to see like these spirits, and it's not light from the homes. It's pretty amazing. We did get quite a bit of activity considering.
And I ran out of time making the videos. I've been up for
very...
2 nights trying to get these videos ready for this week's episode. And I probably have 3 pages worth of evidence notations that I didn't put in. So those will be on the Relatively Paranormal episode. But we have plenty of more video clips for you tonight. But there is a bunch of questions and comments, which we love. So we're going to get into those before we get into the next video clip. Don't read the couple negative ones on there. Please keep it positive, folks. You got to just click show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Cindy Sylvester says hi. Hi, Cindy. How
Hi,
are
Cindy.
you?
Thank you for watching, as always.
It's an interesting one. So Ryan says Andrew Lake is what does it say here? I can't actually read it. Oh,
Andrew Lake is a wonderful author, I believe.
Oh, well, fantastic.
Esteemed and wonderful author. I know he's done a lot of research and writings on the Bridgewater Triangle. And you know what? I've seen him on quite a few documentaries. That's where I've seen him. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think he's like the original guy who wrote about it. If I'm not, I could be wrong, though.
Okay. And once I click out, I can
read the larger one.
Yeah. Okay. So Jan says, exciting that you're in Rehoboth. I'm trying to figure out which of the many little cemeteries in Rehoboth you are at. I visited many of them since I was a child, when my dad helped mark them as historic cemeteries. Oh, really neat.
We were at, this was called Palmer River Churchyard Cemetery. It's the oldest cemetery, but we have also investigated Village Cemetery twice, which is massive.
Yes. Yeah.
Massive. Like this Palmer River one could fit into like one of the tiny little corners. Like
I know.
Village Cemetery is enormous. Both places extremely active. Every place in the Bridgewater Triangle we have ever visited has been explosively haunted. And I highly recommend, if anybody doesn't want to spend a lot of money, you can go to some of these places, but call the police department first. Ask for permission to be there. Let them know you're going to be there, and let somebody know that, like a relative, that you're going out to these places. Anything can happen. This isn't renting out a spot for paranormal investigating. You're in the middle of the woods. Anyone could be out there. We don't fear the dead. We fear the living, because you don't know who's out there and could pop out at any moment. That place we went to, the Great Swamp Massacre out in Kingston, Rhode Island, we walked a half an hour into the woods into a swamp. And God knows anybody could be living off the grid out there, and you just don't know. Nobody would have heard anything.
Oh, yeah. That was kind of fun, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that investigation coming up at some point.
All right. So Nora Kelly
Hold on, read that one, though. I got something to say about that one. Go ahead. Click on that one, the show.
Oh, that's right here?
The one above it. Show that one.
Yeah, that's what I am.
Oh, okay. No, then we'll wait for it so you can read it.
Oh, okay. I would like if you folk would pray for the souls and release them from their bodily world.
Okay. So souls aren't in the bodily world. They actually exist in a dimension that's parallel to ours. You can call it the spirit world. You can call it whatever you want. They are stuck on this earthly plane and trapped here, quite sad, quite miserable. And whenever possible, when we take on a case at somebody's home or somewhere else like that, we try to help the living and the dead, always, if we can.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. We often pray for, for the dead, for the souls, for the spirits that are still stuck here.
Our first responsibility is to our clients, the living, to make their home livable to them. Okay. Everybody should have a livable home, and most of the time it's a previous owner who had their opportunity to live there. If they can coexist and we can take away the fear from the owner and figure out that it's not too dangerous, then we can try to make that happen. If they want the house cleansed, it's their property. We can move the spirit out. But spirits, no matter what, will drain your energy. If they feel compatible to you, we live in a haunted home right now. The spirit here is documented. Meaning we have her obituary, we have pictures of her in living and dead form, and she is very connected to Marissa and drains the heck out of her. It can be very miserable, and when they drain you, they plug in, just like your household appliances, they plug right into you, and then they impress their negative and sad emotions on you. And then you're going to ask, well, why don't we move them out if we can do that? Well, we live in a large apartment building, and when that's the case, all we can do is cleanse the space to make it more habitable. But within a couple weeks, they come back because I can't get into every nook and cranny of the house.
Right.
Marissa, we can't do that.
The spirits will just hide away into some other apartment or in the hallway or the laundry room or whatever. And then they'll come back here.
To probably cleanse a location, you need to get into every nook and cranny from the basement to the attic, every cabinet, every drawer. And we can't do that all the time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get through the last couple and get onto the video. I know people like the evidence, as do I.
Okay. Right here.
Read the big one, dear. Read the big one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't.
I would put on my glasses, except the light will bleed off them. But
okay, so Orlando says, "Hey, please be scared for living, not dead." Yeah, I think we just mentioned that
for
too.
living, not dead. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
we
what I
are.
said, yeah.
No. All right, so.
And then somebody said they're watching from somewhere.
Kathy says she's watching from Maine.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you. We appreciate everybody watching. And let's get on to the. Oh, actually, you know what? We have a new sponsor tonight, and we are thrilled to have this person sponsoring us, sponsoring the show by advertising with us. He is a good friend of ours, and I just have a quick read to get through as part of the sponsorship. So let me get on to this. All right. So Wickedly Haunted is sponsored by JMG Medical Group. Do you have unused, unopened, and unexpired diabetic test strips at home? Could you use some extra cash in your pocket during these tough times? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, then call my friend Ron today at 508-642-6565. He will pay you up to $35 per box cash money, and best of all, will come to you to pick them up usually the same way. There is no faster or easier way to sell your extra diabetic test strips. Excuse me. I know this personally because I've done business with Ron for years. Even if you don't live locally, that's not a problem, because not only can you send them to him, but he even covers the cost of the shipping. Ron actually does this to help get diabetic test strips to people with little or no insurance. He is now also buying Dexcom G6 and Libre sensors. Price per box depends upon quantity, brand, condition, and expiration date. Also, if you mention that you saw the ad on Wickedly Haunted today, Ron will give you an extra $5 per box just for mentioning the show, that's where you heard the ad on. And I really have known Ron for, 5-6 years now. And he is an absolutely phenomenal guy. I'm not just saying that. Before we met Ron, we dealt with these other people that were absolute, I don't want to call anybody a name, but they were kind of trashy and a little bit unnerving when they came to, I didn't know if I was going to get robbed or whatnot.
Right.
Well, just so you know, I am diabetic, but I get sensors now. I get extra test strips because if the sensor is not working properly, I have to level it out. And sometimes the sensors fall off and I have to use them. So every few months I end up with an extra box or two. And, you know, I could use a little extra cash in our pocket too. So
you call Ron and he's there in like 20 minutes. You mean he's so quick.
He's fantastic.
Yeah,
so if you need extra cash, call Ron today. And let's get on to our next video. And if Ron, you're watching, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. We appreciate that. It's certainly going to help us get to do more of what we love doing, which is going to these haunted locations and capturing evidence of the paranormal and bringing home what? The proof that you folks crave that all this really does exist, because it really does. It really does exist. I wouldn't have thought so a few years ago, but by golly, it really exists. Number 2. There we go. All right. Enjoy the next clip. Please post your questions and comments. During the following clip, we are still setting up for the actual investigation, but our V2 SLS 3D mapping camera captured one of the most bizarre clips we have ever captured. I'm presenting it in a 2 video clip form. On the right hand side, you have the infrared 3D mapping camera view. On the left hand side, you have the full 3D mapping camera view. Now you can see Marissa on both screens standing over near our Vortex spirit box, which seems to do strange things, and even according to the spirits, open up portals. Now what you're going to notice, as I showed you before, there are strange apparitions appearing around Marissa's head. That is occurring again, as you can see. It looks like right now there is almost like a snake coming out of the back of her head, and something very strange coming out of the front of her head. On the right hand side, on the infrared view, you can see that there's nothing of the sort there. It's even mapping out her body, which is what that stick figure is, showing all her joints and everything. As her face on the 3D side turns, you can see it's a bizarre, horrific looking face that is not even close to Marissa's beautiful face. Now down by Marissa's legs, you can see what is starting to form, a bizarre looking creature near her left knee down. Now that she has moved, you can see this creature better. I know it sounds strange, but keep an eye on this area, as it looks like some freakish, demonic, or interdimensional creature moving around by the lower half of her body. Around her waist, about that height, you can see what looks like a bizarre arm almost made out of the white dot matrixing there. And yes, our freakish friend in the back of the cemetery there still appears to be eating human spirits. That's what it looks like to me. What's amazing here is that on the infrared side, you can see both that freakish creature and that freakish head in the back of the cemetery eating human spirits. Not as spectacular as you can on the other side, but you can see them pretty damn good. I've blown up both the creature, and in a second I will blow up the head in the back of the cemetery to give you a better view of what these things exactly look like on both sides of the screen, because they are absolutely freakish. As we now look at enlarged videos of the heads in the back of the graveyard, we can clearly see that they have mouths that appear to be opening and closing and chewing on something. We try to use the newest state-of-the-art next generation equipment, and the V2 3D mapping camera is one of those pieces of equipment. If you look over at the 3D side now where the arrow is pointing, you will see some bizarre appendage seem to rip out of Marissa, even causing like some sort of explosion, like it ripped through her clothes when it really didn't, as you can see on the infrared side. It is one of the strangest things I've ever seen, and it reminds me of something from the movie Aliens. Since building this 3D mapping camera with its double views of infrared and full 3D mapping about a year ago, it has provided us with some of the most compelling and amazing paranormal evidence captures, and it has absolutely blown our minds. Sometimes in a little bit of a terrifying way, but still, anything that brings us closer to answers as to what causes these hauntings and what actually exists out there is all we can ask for or hope for. to not only be able to see these entities, but to see them in 3D form is something we could have never dreamed of. I hope you like this video. More to come from this investigation. All right, so we're back, and this is the device that you just saw in that video, what it was producing. It is an incredible piece of equipment that I made for Marissa and I to use last year. Most people use the Xbox 360 Connect to make their structured light sensor cameras, and what that camera does is it blasts out about thousands of little red infrared dots to map the room. This baby right here uses a form of sonar or LiDAR, if you will, where it's going to cast out an infrared beam that hits everything. It bounces back, and it uses a software algorithm to create a 3D model of the room. It has two different cameras. One that's full 3D, which is that like video game looking thing screen. Mm-hmm. And the other is more of a 2D version that still works in a 3D type of way. For something to appear on this camera, it has to have mass to it. It has to be solid. When it shows an orb, there's something solid about the orb that it's hitting. Again, it has to hit something, bounce back, and map on the camera.
Right.
We try to keep this as still as possible most of the time to get the best picture out of it, because if you're moving it around very fast, obviously the beam's bouncing out, coming back, and if the camera's moved now, it's going to distort the picture. Mm-hmm. We try to keep it very still when we use it. But it has produced some of the most incredible, bizarre, disturbing, and mind-blowing videos we have ever seen anywhere. And it's absolutely incredible to be able to see what is around us, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to. The other SLS camera, which we also have and use, shows stick figures, mm-hmm. which are cool, and but it's susceptible to false positives occasionally. Like if you shoot a coat rack, a Christmas tree, or something like that. Right. It's rare, but it can happen.
The nice thing about that is you can be like, oh, hey, Mr. Spirit, can you raise your hand for me? And it's pretty compelling, because if you just ask it to raise its hand and it's...
Well, this does that too.
Well, right.
It's more rare, though, because it's impervious to any sort of false positives. And I don't think it's as sensitive in that way as the other one is.
Right.
You got to remember, both cameras were made originally to map people out playing video games. Somewhere along the line, somebody figured out that they were seeing other things, but this mm-hmm. sees in that infrared screen weird things like orbs, black mists, weird things that have never been seen before anywhere. So
right.
Really, that it's rare that I will just put out one piece of evidence based upon one piece of equipment. But that video was so weird and so freaking disturbing of Marissa. And we had no clue that any of that was around her. When you're just standing there in a pitch black cemetery, and we only investigate in the pitch black. We have the little screens or our tablet screens on one of these devices. That's it. We don't use flashlights. We don't use headlamps. We don't use any of that except during setup. Spirits, ghosts, entities, whatever you want to call them, do not like light, which is why they are more active at night than during the day. Mm-hmm. Am I saying paranormal activity cannot occur during the day? Absolutely not. We've investigated once during the day as part of that truly documentary, the My Extraordinary Family. They want us to investigate on camera, so we went to the Oliver House and did it, during the day, and we got plenty of activity, but it's just not the same as at night. And we've been screamed at before for using a flashlight. So
by spirits,
yes,
absolutely.
Andrew Borden screamed at us.
In Fall River.
Correct. Yes. So let's get to our questions and comments and back to another video. Dear, would you like to actually handle that, because I can't read it? I'm sorry, I wear glasses, and if I put them on with the bright lighting we use, it looks weird.
All right, so
you gotta click on it. You gotta show
Medeiros says.
Then move away from it, and then you can read it.
That demonic face looked like the demon on Hellraiser movie from the 90s.
Listen, some of the things that we see are really just like,
some of them like
they're disturbing. A lot of them are disturbing.
Yeah.
Yes, they're disturbing.
They're just the most bizarre things. I can't even, I really honestly can't even believe that some of these things even exist. And some of these things are shapeshifters. So they will change.
I showed the head in the back of the graveyard. It might be the one she's talking about, the one that's eating spirits.
Oh yeah.
They change shape and stuff like that. It's really bizarre stuff. It really is. But you know what? We're not afraid to show it because we're capturing it. It's real evidence. I have a computer full of it, and it's all real. It's all real. I have the original copies. Listen, I'm 47 years old. I say it all the time. I have better things to do than to go bust my shin in a haunted grave, in a empty graveyard, okay, in the pitch black, and go get stitches, okay, and then produce fake evidence. It is not worth it to me. We are here to educate folks on what exists in the paranormal world, what we have learned. We've read a lot of books. We've done a lot of research. We have lived in 2 haunted homes, both by accident, moved into the first one as skeptics, and we want to bring real evidence of paranormal activity, and we're using state-of-the-art equipment to do that. So even though some of the stuff looks crazy, it's real. It looks crazy to us too. We ask ourselves all the time, my God, what the hell is this? What are we looking at here? You know, but some of this next level stuff is going to get better and better and better as time goes on, and you're going to start to see even weirder stuff. You know, I just happen to be obsessed with reading about technology. I've self-taught myself how to do some electrical stuff, computer stuff, and been able to make these things. The Vortex Spirit Box you're about to witness is also another invention of ours that came about from reading about different types of spirit communication, and it's called the kitchen sink box, basically, because it's got a lot of different things into it. But the power plant energy pumps and the Vortex Spirit Box, this is going to sound crazy, but they thin the veil between the spirit world and ours and allow a door to open up in these entities, whether they're human spirits or otherwise. Whatever's at that location has an easier time of coming through, which is why you can see them. But I digress. Let's move on to the next comment.
All right. Oh, sorry.
Just click on it and then move away.
Yeah. Okay. So Michael says,
I don't even read that.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's silly.
Okay. So Mark says, I've been to Spider Gates when I was a kid and it was creepy. We've never been there.
It's a cemetery that I actually read about. Was that Mark?
Mark, yep.
Yep. I forget where it's at though. It's called like the 7th gate to hell, if it's the same one we're talking about. A lot of strange phenomenon goes on there. Really a weird spot. We will get there one day.
He says he's also smelled burning firewood with like a 10 by 10 square.
What?
Yeah, that's what Mark said when he was at the Spider Gates. Also smelled burning firewood with a 10 by 10 square.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
we've experienced phantom smells at several locations. S.K. Pierce, I smelled
perfumes and stuff.
Perfume. I walked past this bedroom to go to the bathroom. I smelled nothing. I came back and I got hit in the face. It smelled like body odor mixed with it smelled like a Victorian woman must have smelled like when she couldn't take a tub for a month and then doused herself with perfumes all the time. That's what it smelled like to me. It was extraordinarily strong, and then it was transient. It moved around a little bit and then it went away as fast as it appeared.
Marietta says that is so crazy. Definitely is. And
oh, your mom?
Yes, you have new equipment that I haven't
seen. Thank you for watching. We love you.
And yes, we do have some new equipment, Mom.
Yes. This episode's from October. We have actually a boatload of new equipment that you'll be seeing this year for sure. Really great stuff.
All right, I think I missed a few up here, but
all right, so we'll do more questions and comments after the next video because we know you folks want to see more evidence of the paranormal. Please post more. We will get to all of them before the show ends. And thank you so much for our interacting tonight. We absolutely love it. It's so much more fun. Just go to brand right there and then brand. Right.
I'm here.
Oh, I just picked that video. In this replay, we can clearly see that this is not your average orb, as this entity flying by seems to almost have a face. In this screenshot, you can clearly see right here that there's actually 2 heads up at the top of the screen showing all sorts of activity around Marissa. Let's get this party started, right?
Yes.
Let's try that flashlight again. So I'm going to break out the full spectrum here. Honey, look at me so I can make sure that your face isn't blurred out here.
I don't want to lose this person I've been speaking with.
What? What do you got there? What do you mean?
I had him. I asked this person. I'm not even sure if it's a man or a woman, but
Give me just 1 second. I just want to see your face. Just look at me. An easy way for you to communicate with us. Can you hold this one too for a second? Okay, is to come and twist the end of this flashlight like this to turn it on and off. If you don't know what a flashlight is, I have a blue stick in my hand. It makes the light go on and off. We can ask you yes or no questions through it. You just twist the end of it like this. Every spirit we have ever spoken to or communicated with is able to do this. Twist the end of. You can
Did
shut
you
that
hear
light
that?
off. Well, they don't like lights.
oh
like
no,
this,
you wouldn't
huh?
be able to hear that.
All right, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave it on a little bit. All you got to do is twist the end of that to shut it off. We can ask you yes or no questions. Go ahead, twist the end of that. What's that? Go ahead. Yeah, you got it. Yay, there you go.
Excellent job.
Good job. Can you turn it back on now, just so we know that was you? Go ahead, twist it back the other way. You got to turn it the opposite way. You got to. There you go.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Good
So we have the
job.
flashlight on. If you are a male, if you're a man, can you turn that off? Excellent.
Man,
Let's see,
okay.
you gotta move off to the side though, so that the camera can catch that. All right. If you have a tombstone, a grave in this cemetery, can you turn that on? You do.
You are buried
Okay,
here.
fine.
Okay.
Right, mister, go ahead. It's all you.
Am I standing beside your stone? Yeah, actually, let me try this again. Please turn the light off. If I am standing next to your stone, could you please turn the light on? Am I next to it now?
Ow. Ow. Ow.
Right here? Yeah. Sort of. Sort of a little bit closer.
I need you to look at
Okay.
me. I'll tell you. I need your face shot. I can't go over there because. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Could you tell me, are there any more spirits here other than you? Please turn the light on if there are. There are. Okay.
Try to see how many.
How many are there? But are there anywhere between 0?
In these screenshots, it appears as though our buddy has come back again. Yes, it looks like the same anomaly that flew over our heads earlier. And this time, the face can be easily seen. Eyes, mouth, some very good detail there indeed. And in the last picture, it looks like he has brought, once again, a friend with him. As over to the left-hand side, it looks like some big-eyed, weird, alien-type creature almost.
Please turn the light on if they're between 0 and 5.
Look at me this way.
There you are.
Turn on. Right here. So then try to shoot that flare off.
They're
that
between
way.
0 and 5 spirits. Okay, excellent. Are there any bad spirits here? Please turn the light on if there are any bad spirits. There are.
Try to shoot that infrared screen so they can see. Or that one, the V2.
Like when bad spirits and like demons?
Marissa's holding a flare thermal imaging
Or
camera.
just like
I'm
maybe
holding
bad
a
people,
full
bad
spectrum
human.
camera right now.
Bad humans.
We have the flashlight going on and off. Did you see that? That flashlight? Yeah. So we have flashlight communication. Well, I'll tell you what, can you shut that off for 1 second?
Thanks.
I just want to, here's the exact number of human spirits in this cemetery. I'm going to count. That's okay. I'm going to count. When I get to the number of human spirits, I want you to turn. Hi, it's Todd from Relatively Paranormal Equipment, and I am here with my device, my invention, the Power Plant Dual EM Pump Spirit Energy Device. Have you ever had one of your devices or even your body be drained during a paranormal investigation? That's because the spirits are sapping your energy in order to fuel the interaction and communication that you're experiencing during the investigation. What this baby can do. Spirit energy orbs are most often self-lit, circular, and move with intelligence. They can often be very bright or flashing. The power plant On the tripod in the middle of the room is an invention of mine, which is an energy pump spirits can use to fuel up so they can interact and communicate with us. This video of massive spirit energy orb formation was filmed at the S.K. Pierce Haunted Victorian Mansion in Gardner, Massachusetts, one of the most haunted locations in the country, and it certainly proved that to us many times over the night we were there.
The flashlight on nice and bright, okay? So can you shut it off? And I'm gonna count. Go ahead. Go ahead, shut it off all the way. There you go. When I get to the number, turn it on. 2. There's 2 spirits here. You and 2 other spirits. Is that it? Go ahead, turn it off. Is the power plant on?
Look at, you can see them in the flare.
Is the power plant on there? Use that energy. Use the energy we gave you.
A figure appears on our flare thermal camera over on the table where the flashlight is stationed with the Vortex Spirit Box. In this still photo, the purple arrow points out where the flashlight is, and the blue arrow is pointing out the figure who has both arms reaching across the table.
Did you do a Facebook Live?
Yeah, Manny's doing it. Oh, good God.
Oh, you need a flashlight. I did the same thing.
I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding everywhere.
You are? Oh, shoot.
You have Band-Aids in the car?
Oh, God. Probably not. I have a different bag with me. Let me go check the inside of the car. Hang on. Here. I'm just going to finish reading these real quickly. So Lori Tavares says, why don't you come to Fall River, Massachusetts? Are you familiar with the Lizzie Borden house? And yes, we have absolutely been to the Lizzie Borden house. We did actually a show on that last year.
We did 3 episodes of Wickedly Haunted that are on Relatively Paranormal. And we also did a Relatively Paranormal full investigation episode. And I believe it's one of our best ones ever, even though it was a year ago. And we've done much better work graphically since then. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. You have no idea what I just did to get that camera back up. Insane. I don't know what happened to
and
the other
then
one.
Laura Tavares says Ghostbusters are the best. And Sharon says, I used to live in Rehoboth and had a very small cemetery on the corner of my property. Very old markers, mostly of children. Oh,
that's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. I hate seeing that.
You had that a lot of times back in the day when they first built these farms. It was family plots. And, you know, most of the people died at home then too, which definitely provided for hauntings.
There's a cemetery on Lake Street, and many people have seen children running around the headstones wearing knickers or dresses around the same time period. That's awesome, but that's sad still. That's crazy. All right, so Laurie Tavares says, I live in the last house left and not knocked down. Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast is my longtime neighbor. So I have spirits. Oh my God.
Yeah. The first haunted house person I lived in was in Fall River, Massachusetts on Flint Street. And we've been by Lizzie Borden's house many, many times, just happening to pass by, as a matter of fact. We were very excited to get in there last year. And what was even more exciting is that every room was booked and nobody else wanted to ghost hunt and just chilled in their room. It was awesome. So it left the whole house wide open to us. And we were up till 3, 4 in the morning investigating there.
Yeah, it was great. We had a good time there. I'd like to go back for sure.
Well, not anymore. It's like a weird corporate entity. And the funny thing is about the new Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast is they built a 2 bedrooms in the basement where there is a portal open and there is a demonic entity named the Goat Man.
Yes, that's right.
Who stomps around, bangs on things, throws things, probably attacks people. We have evidence of it. If you go to our YouTube channel, Relatively Paranormal, and look at the Lizzie Borden
Oh my God,
episode.
Laurie, make sure you check out our Lizzie Borden episode because it was pretty wild.
And we actually solved the crime of the 18th century, 127-year-old mystery. And we spoke to Andrew and Abby Borden.
And Abby both told us Lizzie did it.
Now you just spoiled it. Oh my God.
Oh, stop it.
Dude. What do they call that again? What's the name of that?
Quiet.
Somebody who does that? I forget what it's called. Spoiler alert. Yeah, hashtag spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Hashtag.
Jim Harrington, you guys are doing a great job watching you from Pittsburgh.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Jim's been in the media business a long time, and he's a good friend of ours. Jim, you have no idea what I did to just get that camera going. Oh my God. Diving across beds. Good grief. Good grief.
And Marietta says, I was at the Oliver House with you and witnessed the spirit's energy turn Julia's toy on and walk on the floor. I was screaming because I was so shocked. So I was like, first of all, I didn't think that my mother believed in spirits at all, but it turns out she does. So I was really excited that she came to an investigation with us. And
I was too.
Yeah.
I was too.
And my twin sister too came, which is pretty awesome. And we brought one of my daughter's toys for the little girl that died there. And the little toy, it moves. It's a little unicorn thing, but it'll only move if somebody touches it. Like, it doesn't just move on its own. You have to touch its nose or pretend to like feed it with a little ice cream cone that it has.
The nose thing only works once it's on. It's got an activation switch on the side that we hadn't hit. I think Julie just took it on, put it on the floor. Nobody had activated it. And it activated itself and started prancing around the room. And then it started doing all the other weird stuff that once it's activated, it will do.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting. And I'll tell you what, I want to say one thing real about your mom and your sister first. They did a great job helping out too. They really did.
Sure.
Probably the best camera people and extra helpers we've ever had. Manny does a good job too.
Yeah.
Manny does a good job
Love
too.
you guys too. Thanks, Mom.
Make sure you show it. You didn't show it, I don't think.
Yeah, I did. Lori says, incredible images. Do you think they intertwine with each other and make these demonic faces? I love you both. Great show. Thanks, Lori. Thank you so much.
I mean, so the theory on like these spirit boxes with the radios is that the spirits can use the white noise and the voices, right, in order to communicate with us. Like, they can take these word banks with voices in them and use those words to communicate with us, or take things off the radio and use. That's not what we use for our spirit box, but that's just the general idea for it. But now Marissa's and my new theory about visual things, certain things like that weird face, like that was eating spirits, is that they can use things in the environment to show themselves on our digital media.
Yes.
And we're not kidding about this, because we've seen it repeatedly, and I have no explanation for it, because that's a 3D camera seeing a solid 3D object. And it wouldn't just, none of the other graves were transformed into faces eating other heads. I mean, you can see another face in the mouth, and the mouth closes on it. There's 100 other spirits in those clips, and none of them have faces on it. So why would it turn one? It wouldn't, is the answer. So something was trying to shock us, to scare us, and knew we would watch it later. If it's demonic entities have preternatural knowledge, which means they know the future, they know everything. And that's our new theory, as well as the fact that they can use reflective surfaces, any reflective surface, stainless steel, glass at night when it looks like a mirror. Anything that looks like a mirror that you can see a good reflection in, they can use to show themselves.
All right, so let's move on to the very last video.
The last video, you're going to get to hear the Vortex Spirit Box. It's the only Vortex Spirit Box in the world. We believe it is as close to direct communication with the spirits as you will get to hear. So check it out. The subtitles on the screen are what I heard the spirit saying. And Mister, do you want the flare back? How many? Only human spirits are allowed to talk through that box. We're only here to communicate with human spirits. How many human spirits are here? Two of us? Is your name Connor?
Is your name really Connor? Ghost? Yes. Yeah.
Hello.
It's what?
Hello.
Spirit. Do people come here and talk to you like this? What year did you die? What year? How long have you been here for? It's Listen, it's, hold on. Tell me, the year is 2021. 2021. How long have you been here for? I'm gonna put this back on now. Tell me what year you passed in. It's 2021 now. Does that shock you? What? Did you say help you? I need to reset those, the V1, the V2. I need you down there like.
Were you born? We're in Rehoboth right now. Were you born in Rehoboth? Were you born in Massachusetts?
So, try to look at this camera sometimes, please. For a second, stop talking. We can see your face if you manipulate the static. You see the static? Can you show us your face in the static?
Who just hit that? But somebody just tapped this.
Well, then take a picture. 3.
Oh my god, that's what it sounded
2,
like.
1. Show us your face. Wait, shoot me. I got the screen recorder on. No, I got the screen recorder on. Can you take a picture with me? Look. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Take a picture with me. Use the static.
In the following replays, we can clearly see that there are two entities that appeared on the SpiritTube app, a bright, large blue one on the right-hand side, which is clearly terrified of the smaller red head on the upper left-hand corner. In a second, you're going to see some screenshots that I took of this interaction. Notice how as the screenshots progress, the blue head seems to revolt away from the red one, moving farther and farther away from it into the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Each time, its mouth seems to open up wider as if screaming in absolute terror. It's painfully obvious that whatever this red entity is, it had nothing but bad intentions for the blue entity.
We're kind of over his shit. Yeah, I'm here. The ghost said what? Can somebody come right up to me? Me? Yeah, make me feel sick to my stomach standing near him. Don't what? He's scared. Don't leave. Oh, we got somebody. We got somebody. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna shoot them with this.
Okay. It's opposite, right? Right, Marissa? It's opposite, right? There he is. I got him. So he's right there.
Oh, he's lifting his hands up.
You over there, can you wave your hand like this? I see you right there, sir, on the ground.
Oh,
Can you wave your hand?
He's behind his back now.
Can you wave your other hand? Lift your other hand up. That's the demon? He's kind of puny. Hold on, let me see. Where is he? You have to guess. Where is he? He's right there, right of the box? I have no idea whether this entity being mapped is a demon, a negative entity, or just a human spirit. Either way, I believe all demonic entities or negative entities in general are cowards and bullies and need to be put in their place and never shown any fear because that's what they feed off of. As far as the fact that he's being mapped by our 3D mapping camera, this is a piece of next generation ghost hunting technology that is impervious to false positives. Anything being mapped by its LiDAR technology has to be solid and have mass to it. So you can be rest assured that what you're seeing is an actual supernatural being of some sort. We're just not sure what type it is. Either way, it's an impressive capture at a wickedly haunted location. Even though he just kind of sits there and doesn't really interact with us, we think it's cool because most interactions of this type on these type of cameras last seconds, and this one went on for minutes. So that is the last clip, and it looks like there's no new comments. So Palmer Churchyard Palmer River Churchyard Cemetery, definitely wickedly haunted. I don't know what effect other investigators being in the trail on the same night had, but we get what we get no matter where we go. Thanks to the power plant and all the energy that it infuses into the area. And the activity was certainly crazy there. I wish it didn't rain, and I wish I hadn't gashed my leg open. I probably would have still stayed longer with a gashed leg either way, but it started downpouring on us right at the end of the video you just watched is when the rain hit. You can even see some of the water drops. What's bizarre, though, is that that weird red thing came on the screen, that red figure in front of the grave. He just sat there kind of slumped over, didn't really do too much. But he froze the 3D side of that camera, but not the infrared side, which ran for the whole time we ran around cleaning up, which is bizarre. I've never seen that happen before. It was really strange. Almost like it didn't want to be seen, even though its little figure was on the other side too. Maybe it didn't realize it, because when we're recording, you can only see one of the screens. Later on, I can pull up both of them, but you can only watch one when you're recording. Believe it or not, these entities, and I showed it earlier in the episode with the flare, when it said, oh, I can see Marissa's whole head. The ghost said that, and that was what was up on the flare. They go behind us and look behind the screens, and they get pissed off when we can see them. They get mad. They tell each other. We've heard them talking to each other about it, including one thing that called another entity boss. So I don't know what that was, some sort of demonic minion talking to his demon boss at some place. But really bizarre stuff, but it all exists. It's weird. I wouldn't have thought so a decade ago, but sure enough, it's real. So thank you all so much for watching this week. We really appreciate all of it. And we look forward to seeing you all soon. And once again, from our family to yours. Oh, one more thing real quick. We just like to thank JMG Marketing Medical Group one more time for sponsoring us.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you need help, relativelyparanormal.com, relativelyparanormal@gmail.com. We'll come out as fast as we can. From our family to yours, we will see you next Saturday. Thank you so much for watching.
Have a great weekend.